What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. So as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about how I became a dealer. Now, before we get into it, I just want you guys to know I am in no way, shape, or form glorifying that world. I'm also, it's very important that I say this, I am not making excuses for why I chose to go down that path. I simply want to share my story and share my truth and let you guys know what led me to that, what experiences I had in that, what I've learned from that, and hopefully someone watching this video will make different choices than I made. Before we get rolling, one more thing. I want to give a big shout out to my homie Gman5338. He spent a ton of coin to send me the shirt from Canada. So this is his tattoo company. He is a tattoo artist. He is also a retired law enforcement officer. It's kind of ironic that I'm shouting him out in this video. You didn't specify, G-Man, what video you wanted to be shouted out in. So he is a retired law enforcement officer. He's also a military veteran with PTSD. He has a great and very underrated channel here on YouTube. I will leave it linked down below. A lot of you don't know the behind the scenes of YouTube. G-Man has been rolling with me since I had about 1,000 subscribers. He's also helped me with advice and just backup and support, and he's just been my homie here from the beginning. So go send him some love, go talk crap about cops. He likes it, I promise. All right, let's get into today's video. So a lot of the times I do not share parts of my childhood with you guys, and the reason being is my mom watches every single video. She is my biggest fan, and I don't want to upset her in sharing my childhood. It wasn't good though. And I think a big part of this channel is me being open and raw and honest and real and telling you guys my life. So, I love you, Mom. Maybe don't watch this video. But I remember the day that I decided I did not want to be poor. I remember it so clearly that I can even still smell what my surroundings smelled like, which is called relation memory. So when you smell a certain thing or you hear a certain sound, it kind of takes you back to that place. So I can specifically remember where I was, what my surroundings smelled like, everything. So I was probably 9 or 10, and I did not have a lot of friends in school. Actually, no friends. And I would just be that, I was that nerd that read a book in the corner by herself, didn't talk to anyone. But there was this boy that I thought was very cute. I'll like never forget his name. Like I still remember his name, but I thought he was very cute, and we were riding the bus home. He was actually my neighbor, and he never talked to me before. He actually talked to me on the bus on the way home that day, and I was like so excited, and I was gonna go tell my mom like, oh, this boy talked to me, and we talked about a book, and like, oh my god, this boy talked to me. I walked up the driveway really excited to tell my mom and her boyfriend like, oh, my crush said a word to me. And I remember opening the door and walking in, and the house is in boxes. We got evicted and we had to move. My mom didn't tell me that leading up to it. She didn't tell me the morning I left for school. She was probably still asleep, honestly, when I left for school, which a lot of the times I would get myself up and ready and get on the school bus by myself. My mom does battle with depression as well, so my childhood just wasn't the happiest. But I remember being so shocked that we were moving, and I just got settled. We moved around a lot because we got evicted a lot. And at this moment in our lives, we were going to move about 40 minutes away from where we were, so new school, and I was just devastated. I was devastated. I didn't want to move again. I didn't want to go through that transition again. And I remember in that moment thinking, being poor is the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing a person can be, is to be poor. And I was not going to be poor. Of course, I did not know at like 9 or 10 how that would manifest, but I remember making the conscious decision that no matter what it took, I was not going to be poor. So moving forward, we had moved about 40 minutes away, and then for some reason moved back. So we moved back to that town. So I was bouncing around from school to school. Sometimes like I would go to one school and then go to a different school district and then go back to that school, and that's what happened in this situation. So I went back to that school, which I actually showed you in my hometown tour video. It's the first scene where I'm in front of that big school. That's the school that I went to. So when we moved back to that town, it was a couple of years later, 2 or 3 years later, so I was like 12, almost 13, when I woke up one morning and I was getting ready for school, and I was hungry, and I walked out into the kitchen. There was no food. I was so frustrated that there was no food. I remember taking one of my mom's cigarettes and lighting a cigarette from the stove and just walking to school, just pissed off and hungry. I think that was like just a really big turning point for me to just decide I have to start making some money. Now, if my daughters were ever 12 and 13 and thought I have to make money so that we can have food, like, it would just devastate me. So I know this bothers my mom. I know that it does. And I know that she's made a lot of mistakes, and I don't want any negative comments towards my mom in the comment section down below. Please be kind. But this is my life story, and I'm sharing it with you so that maybe we can shed light on how not to go about fixing poverty. Anyway, moving on. I, again, had no friends, and we moved around a lot, right? So I was in a really bad mood that day, and I got sent to detention. In detention, I met a girl, and she invited me over to her house. And this girl looked really cool, in my opinion. She wore all black, and she had like spiked taper gauges in her ears, and I thought she was so cool, and her fingernails were black, and like she just had this cool style and this cool vibe. We became friends instantly, and that's when I started to go to parties. And I learned very quickly that, oh, if I take this and I sell it over here, I can make a little bit of money. And it was just so simple to me. It was so easy, and I think that was a big issue for me. Fast money, easy money, little work involved. I am also the kind of person that if you tell me to sit down, I want to stand up. So high school was very difficult for me, and I was always told, you have to go to college. You have to graduate high school, you have to go to college, you have to get a job. That's the path. That's the conveyor belt. You have to get on it. If you don't, you're going to be a failure. And I remember hearing that and just being like, if you're telling me that's the only way, I'm going to do it my way. Now, we now know that my way was 10 times more difficult. However, I do not conform. I just have that in me that I just want to do it a different way. I want to show you all the ways that you think I can't do it, and then I'm going to take pictures because I did it my way and I was still successful. Is that always good? No, because I make things harder for myself, but I'm just that kind of person. I do not conform. It is my nature, and I take that to the extreme. I used to take that to the extreme. So again, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to graduate high school and go to college and work my ass off and get a job that paid dog shit. That's what I did not want to do. I thought the most successful thing that I would ever do was be a dealer and run a backdoor card game, maybe. Because who doesn't like blackjack, right? Very early on my dealer career, I picked up a habit. I saw that flaw in myself. Like, you can't be a successful dealer if you're an addict. But that's the thing I saw. The reality of it is you can't be a successful dealer. You go to either prison or the ground. Those are the two paths of being a dealer. I just desperately didn't want to be poor. And I know I've said that a bunch, but like, it was just so ingrained into my brain. Hustle and hustle and hustle and hustle by any means necessary. The ends justify the means. If you do this, you'll get this. It's quick, it's fast. Blase blah. Well, the money came in. I started selling weed, and then I started selling anything I can get my hands on. I would sell pills, I would sell coke. As I got older, the deals got bigger. The money came in more. I was making money. I had people that would sell for me, and it really just kind of snowballed into this tiny little operation that I had. I'm not flexing, I'm not bragging. I wasn't a kingpin. I wasn't Freeway Rick Ross. But I had a little something going on. Because of the terms and conditions of my parole early on, that dictated that I had to have a job. I was so ingrained already in dealing that, yeah, I had a job at a pizza place in my small town in upstate New York, but everyone that I was with was a customer. Everyone that I worked with was a customer. I know this is a very sensitive topic for so many people. My intention with this video is not to cause harm or not to hurt anyone. I just want to tell my story. I just want to tell my truth. There were so many times where I could have left that life, realistically. But my mentality was, this is all I know. I feel like when we start to say it's always been done this way, I can't do it anything different, or this is all I know, we start to put up barriers and obstacles in our own mind. But at that time in my life, I didn't see any other way out. I didn't grow up in an area that had tons of jobs or Fortune 500 companies like Northwest Arkansas, where Reese grew up. I grew up in a tiny town. The job opportunity was, I could work at Subway, I could work at McDonald's, I could work at a pizza place or a gas station. Those are my options. And I would work all week after school at this pizza place that has pretty good pizza still to this day, but I would work all week and my paycheck would be like $300, you know, $200-300 for working after school every single day. I can make that in 5 minutes. Like, so that is what was so difficult for me. Even as a teenager, when I would sell, I would buy my mom groceries, I would help my friends, I would do this, I would do that, I would help a family in my hometown that were periodically homeless. I was doing good things, but with bad money. In my mind, it justified everything. The ends always justified the means. I'm doing good things, I'm a good person, but really I wasn't. I also want to add, a very common misconception of dealers is that we're just out selling to kids on playgrounds, or we're just giving it out to people and hoping they become addicted. That's just not true. I don't know what DARE class y'all went to. If you think that way, you're just misinformed. You're just misinformed. As real as I can put it, that is a lie. So I was recently watching an interview with Freeway Rick Ross, and the interviewer on this podcast asked him, I'm sorry, I don't remember where that was, but the interviewer said, out of all the times you've been to schools, how many kids say they got drugs from a stranger? And Rick said 0. I've never heard that ever. I've never in my life heard that. And it just got me thinking, neither have I. Every single person I have sold drugs to was already addicted to drugs. So then you ask yourself, well, where did you get the drugs? If you ask addicts who got you addicted, who introduced you to a drug, it's someone they know, a friend, a boyfriend, a brother, parents, cousins, uncles. It's people that they know. I've traveled around this country for years. I sold magazines on a magazine crew. We would jump cities. Every 2 weeks, we'd be in a different city. And every 2 to 3 weeks, I would have to find a new connect. It is very difficult to get dealers to sell to you if they do not know you. And I am small, and I didn't necessarily always look like an addict. So I would have to prove myself to dealers and show my arm so that they knew I was not a first-time user. It is a huge no-no that dealers sell to first-time users. So I just want to throw that in there, not to make excuses, but just so that you guys understand and see the culture and see what I was in. I have never in my life sold to someone that wasn't already addicted. Does that excuse what I did? Absolutely not. Did I deserve to go to prison? Yes. Do I regret going down that path? Sometimes. I don't like to live my life with regret, but I do wish I made better choices. That lifestyle cost me a great deal of pain. My addiction snowballed and got worse. I've overdosed several times. So being on both sides, dealer and user, was hard. I was always fighting a war within myself to make a profit and pay my runners and pay my mom's bills and get groceries and help my friends and do all of these things. That was one side of me. And the other side was an addict that didn't care about anyone or anything. And I'm just so grateful to be out of that life. But I still think it's important to talk about. I think it's important to let our kids know they don't have to go down that path. There were many chances for me to make a different decision before I went to prison the first time. Second time, before I got locked up on all my parole violations. I could have made a change in my life. I could have decided to change sooner than I did, but I didn't see any way out. I was so clouded by the lifestyle that I had built and my addiction that I didn't see a way out. But there is a way out, and you can get sober. You can live the life that you want. You can hustle in a real way. You can hustle and create a life that you are so proud of. A life that law enforcement cannot take from you, a life that is beautiful. And I didn't understand back then how amazing and beautiful and precious life is until I got sober. And it wasn't a year into my sobriety. It wasn't 2 years into my sobriety. It took time. Now with 8 years of sobriety, I can sit here and tell you guys without a shadow of a doubt how amazingly blessed I am, how grateful I am to be sober, and how happy I am that I have left that life behind. I look back on who I used to be and I'm not proud. I'm not proud. I was broken. I was miserable. And as much as I would try to act like I was okay on the outside, I was literally dying on the inside, mentally and physically. Addiction really just tore me to shreds. It really did. But I am living proof that no matter your background, no matter where you come from, no matter what substance you may be addicted to, you can rise above that. You can get sober, you can recover. I feel like it might have been all over the place. So again, I do just apologize for that. I just wanted to get this out. I wanted to share my story and how I started down that path. I just want you guys to know that it's okay to come from nothing, because I came from nothing and I built an amazing life outside of drugs and that small town bullshit, you know? I left all of that in my rear view. So I'm gonna end today's video here. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, do not sell drugs, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.